Yes, it is.
Saved us.
Wait, Tygga, why are you doing this NPC behavior?
What do you mean NPC hater? Nigga, you act like you're the playable character in the main storyline, bitch. What are you talking about? Let's go, Noah. Look, I've been waiting for this debate forever, so let's go.
You've been waiting for this debate forever?
Really, yeah, I have. I've been waiting for this debate for a good, 6 months now.
Tygga.
I think I've been trying to debate you for at least 6 months.
Tygga, how many times... Wait, everybody, nobody jump, Tygga. So, Tygga, how many times you been in call with me since I iced this shit?
Oh, I haven't been in call with you once. I don't care. I haven't been in call with ice this shit. And I still said I wanted to debate you then. Actually, you said that you wanted to debate me, and you said some bullshit about $15, and then which became a running joke, which I said I'm not paying you $15 to debate you, Noah. That's literally what I said to you.
So I said 50. Let's get the price correct here.
Number two. Oh, my fault. 50. You said 50, but 50. Fuck out of here, nigga. Fuck out of here. Jesus Christ.
So, how many? Man? Let me ask you one more time, bro. How many times have we been in call, and how many times have we talked since I iced this shit?
Actually, I'm willing to say that we haven't been in call. I think we were in call. Oh, because we're going to get in call. Remember about the ice the bullshit. But then I never got into the ice call with you. I've been thought that you guys were, and I've been said that you both were lame for that shit. I've gotten on fucking iced about it, and I should get on you about it, but it's been too late now. So I mean, I should. But that's besides the point. What's done is done, I guess. But it's still whatever.
No, that's fine. The only reason I'm even addressing this because we've been cool for I don't even know how long. But I get DMs.
Oh, yeah.
Right. I get DMs randomly Tygga's saying this and that. He says he's gonna drop your ass in a debate in a server that you don't even think I'm in.
Hell yeah! What are you talking about?
Sure. Yeah. Why are you saying this shit? Wait. Why are you saying this shit to everybody?
Because I've said this to you multiple times. What are you talking about? I said I wanted to debate you before the ice bullshit.
Wait. Here, okay, let's confirm that real quick, Tygga. You just said we haven't talked since June when the ice shit happened, but you somehow told me this shit that you were just saying.
June? Wait, whoa. Did the ice shit happen in June? I said
June.
I said wait for this debate 6 months. And I've been and I've been said I will beat the fuck out of No Luck before even that. So the craziest thing is, and I told you, man, I've been wanting to debate you. The first time I think I wanted to debate you was when I saw you debate Reggie, and then I said, "Yep, I could debate. I want to debate No Luck. I want to debate No Luck because I said I think I could beat him. That was I think. Then now I know I can. So there we go.
So why did this come out to everybody but me?
I've been in fairness, first of all, I lost my first account, so I would just DM you because we're friends on there, but that's that is my fault. Also, I've been pinged you in a couple of other servers, saying, "Hey, I want to debate you." I think I've pinged you a couple of times in servers that you're in.
Here, I got you.
I even pinged you today. The crazy thing is, I pinged you today.
No, it's okay. Hold on. Let me show you something, Tygga. All right. Can you look in general real quick?
It's gonna be something gay, is it gonna be a dick? I don't want to see that shit.
Look. In 2021, if you're not gay, you're doing it wrong. Okay.
What?
God.
So if you look in general one, do you see my pings?
What the fuck did I just join?
That is a lot. That is a lot of pings. But that's not. But I guess that's how is it my fault for not knowing that you have your pings like that? How's that my fault? What am I supposed to know that you don't check your pings? How are you not OCD about that shit? I am so. What
do you want me to do? I can't check all of them. Fuck. And to be honest, I've said before, and I've shown James, most of those pings are literally just people either trying to say some mean shit to me or call me out to debate. So I just stopped trying.
No, I messaged you 2
even,
minutes ago. How did more people have messaged you since? 5.
Okay, look, that's not the point.
Is that Flash? Is that Flash? Why is Flash in your DMs? I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm not even gonna say anything. Oh my god! But yeah, no. I mean, that's my fault first. I thought you'd be a normal human being and be OCD about that shit, like half the Discord.
No.
But like, that's my fault for assuming. But that's my. But yeah, no, man, I've been wanting to debate you. I don't think the last time I talked to you about it, you even acknowledged it, but you just said the $50 thing. This was right when Tekkaichi was like a thing. I don't know if that server's imploded, but you could see like there's like a discussion that we have in there. It's like I want to debate you or whatever, and then I think I said some meme shit like, "Oh, I thought you told me that you would let me slide or whatever." Like you told me I'd get a freebie, and I think you even like said some joke shit back to that. So yeah, no, I've been wanting to debate you, and I've been cool with you. This is not like, oh, me being mean and shit. It's just no, I want to debate you and I want to beat you.
Okay. No, I'm glad we understand. Never mind. So maybe I was just being a little sensitive. You know how I get sometimes, Tygga.
Yeah. Don't worry. Don't worry about that, man. Don't worry. There's too many niggas on Discord that do so many Aggie shit. But I have mutual respect for you. At least I would hope so. That you would not be like that. You're not like an Aggie type spurg. That's why I was kind of like. That's why I said I would get on you about the ISTA and your debate shit because I think that shit was like kind of retarded. But I think I literally joined in and I just immediately hear just niggas screaming and that's just retarded to me. And I told ISTA that and I was gonna tell you that, but like I said, that's why I was kind of hoping to see an actual debate come from both of you because I figured that would be something good to at least listen to. But I get how it goes sometimes. There's just some niggas that you just can't debate civilly with. I get how it goes.
Nah, I feel you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I'm ready to debate right now. I don't know what the fuck you're doing, but I'm ready to debate right now. I'm ready to...
I don't know. I'm doing. All right.
If you're doing shit, then I'm not gonna sit here and try. You like that's retarded.
No, I can be in call at least. What did you want to debate me on, Tygga?
Well, there was like what were your? I actually wanted to re-listen to what your stance is on the freedom of speech because I remember you were discussing that with Renji, and I think that you have an interesting take on it. But I think I might be opposed to it. If not, I could go into some other topics that I think that you would be somewhat interested in. So, but what was your stance on freedom of speech?
Freedom of speech?
Yeah, you said something about like the free should we be allowed to have freedom of speech? And I think it was a yes or no. Like freedom to say whatever we want to say, basically.
Okay.
And I don't know what I think your stance was pretty weird on it. I think the stance was pretty weird for both of you guys. Points because I think it seems like you guys were both arguing for the same thing because I think one of you said that freedom of speech is not okay because of repercussions and there should be repercussions for some shit that you say, and then one of you said you should be still allowed to say whatever you want to say, but you're just gonna have to take the repercussions for it. Like I think, and then you said that there shouldn't be freedom of speech because of like repercussions. So it was kind of weird. It was like well, is this freedom of speech really if you're going to get repercussions from it, or if it's freedom of speech, or is it still freedom of speech because of repercussions? It became like an internal debate on what the fuck freedom of speech actually means. So I just wanted to see what your thoughts was on it, like just in general. What do you think about freedom of speech in general, I guess? Do you think that there should be repercussions for like what you say?
Should there be okay, so my position on freedom of speech is I think we are. Hold on, give me 1 second. I gotta reply to this, dude.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. So yeah, we're good. My position on freedom of speech. Let's say you should be able, or the state, or let's say I'm the ruler of the world. If I had it my way, limit whatever speech I'm gonna find out is harmful, I guess. And it's perfectly fine to have repercussions for people going against those limitations. Like if you walk into like a kindergarten and start teaching them all sorts of like horrible things through your speech, yeah, there should absolutely be repercussions. And I'm more than happy for that to be enacted.
So you are okay with repercussions, but you said limit speech. So does this mean like, I guess like I'm trying to get into like what you're saying. So yeah, limited speech with repercussions. So would there be rules based on the speech? Because you're advocating for limited speech, but of what you deem is harmful, right?
Yeah. So you're asking like my stance. So I'm giving you basically, if I had it my way, this is how it would go, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I had it my way, basically we would lay out rules. You can't do certain things with your speech. We already have some of these rules in place now, and that's probably avoided quite a few catastrophes over time and the degradation of our own culture. So in this case, yeah, that's something I would like to avoid, like the degradation of our culture, people who incite riots or people who promote and advocate for extremism, like radicalists who create and basically cultivate domestic terrorism. They do that through their freedom of speech. So I'd be more than happy to limit these people, make rules that say if you do these kinds of speeches, you get X punishment.
I guess I'd be mostly okay with that, except for the main problem is I guess from your analogy or whatever, right? It's basically saying that you're the king of the world, right? You would, how you would rule it, I guess. So it just, I guess it'd be if that's the case, if it was like a one person rule and it's only like what you deem as harmful, right? Well, what do you deem as harmful? Because there's a lot of people that would deem a lot of things as harmful that a lot of other people would not deem as harmful. So let's say maybe like how Nazi Germany was censoring certain works and basically burning religious texts that they just deemed that was very harmful to what they think the community or what they were trying to perceive as. But a lot of people wouldn't deem those as harmful works or anything like that. I feel like that just leads to a lot of gray area. A lot of room basically to it be abused and then be nitpicky on what you choose on what you think is harmful or not. Why should it be based upon even not even one person, even a collective? Why should it be based on a collective to think that they are what they deem is right and wrong should be right or wrong for every other human being in the world?
Okay. So are you trying to tell me you take issue with a single person excuse me, or a collective of any kind making rules? Is that what I'm getting?
I would have a problem with a collective or a person making a universal rule on what should be limited for speech for everybody on Earth. Right. I think I would have a problem with that because there's too many clashing ideologies of what people think are bad and what people think are good.
No, that's fine. Let's simplify it then. Let's go with me, right? You just attack me. Criticize whatever rules I make. Let's go with the one I just did. So I would limit speech that would advocate for extremism and potentially grow domestic terrorism as a movement. And if you were to in fact engage in that, you would be punished, right? So do you have a problem with that rule or any way I've laid it out?
Because when you talk about extremism, there's some things, even in extremism, there's some things that are sometimes would be considered extremist at the time, but later on would be kind of still in the moral right in what we're thinking, or a very moral right.
Would you have any examples?
An extremist group? Would you say the Black Panthers are an extremist group?
No.
You wouldn't. Wait, why wouldn't you?
I would, I guess, because I'm not racist. Most of the people that called them extremists were yes. Most of the people that called them extremists called them so based on their opposition to Jim Crow, right? And they thought opposition to Jim Crow could be classified as extremism, which, in my definition, no, it wouldn't be. In fact, that's just proper.
Maybe
discourse.
I jumped.
That's proper, right? That's proper. I guess legal discourse, right? And that's something that's necessary, something that's actually made our country better. The fact that we have that, because if you're not allowed to have any discourse or any dissent from laws, you would pretty much eliminate the Supreme Court. You would eliminate any changes to laws, and we'd still have things like hanging women who practice science and calling them witches, right? So if we eliminate discourse like that, then obviously we're in a much worse situation, and that's not something I would ever ban. If I have it my way. I'm talking about the domestic terrorism things of things like the Boogaloo Boys, for example. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they're a group who their main goal is to incite a second civil war. And seeing the harm that the first civil war caused, I'm very, very against the civil war happening, but it's also very extreme to start a war over, I guess, political dissent from the left-leaning pundits, right? So I would say that that's extremism, and there are when there's other avenues to take to, I guess, further your agenda or get your message out there, as opposed to starting a civil war, you should take those instead of starting a civil war.
Okay. Yeah. So I think I kind of agree. Well, first off, I kind of have to take a step back because it is kind of my fault. I guess I should just ask you, what is your definition of extremism, like brought down to the roots? I know you kind of try to give it like an example, like basically examples of what you would classify as extremism, but I just kind of want a specific definition for what is extremism first off.
Do you want mine, or do you want one that's going to come from Oxford? Do you want my personal definition, or something from somebody with some credentials? Tygga, are you still here? Did I cut out? Can everyone else hear me?
Yeah, we could hear you.
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. He's probably just cutting out or something.
Damn, a debate with no spurging. That's crazy.
Oh no, that's because I like Tygga, so.
Y'all are still going. I stopped paying attention.
Wish he was locked out with me.
Hello. I just lagged out. I couldn't hear anything after I said my question, so
No, that's okay.
that's my apologies. I don't know what the hell's going on there. Yeah.
No, you're okay. So I was asking, do you want my own personal definition, or do you want a definition from like Oxford, Merriam, anything like that?
I guess I would go with your own personal definition because, in fairness, if your definition has differences between like an Oxford or Merriam, then I probably can't use that. It's not fair for you if you have your own definition of what extremism is. I'm going to debate under what you think your extremism is.
Okay.
So
my definition of extremism is, I would say, thought or action that is unnecessarily harsh, harmful, or fanatic. So an example would be if you want to fight for women's rights, right? I think that can be a perfectly noble cause, but if you think that the best way to go about that is to kill all men, well, that's probably an unnecessary step to take, and a unnecessarily harsh or extreme step to take to fight for women's rights. So if you were to kill all men, I would say that's extremism, even if it is for women's rights.
okay. Okay. I guess I'd have like a couple of questions then, because I feel like, do you think so? That's kind of an interesting take when you really chop it up. Because would that mean, in the sense that I'm guessing you're not pro riots, right? So you're not pro riots when it comes to BLM, correct?
Not pro riots.
So basically, when like the BLM movement happened, or like the riots happened, or whatever, people were like, there was kind of like a discussion on whether you should be pro riots or not pro riots, because a lot of people from the pro riot side would basically be like, we've tried doing peaceful demonstrations, we've tried doing this, and a third. For over how many years, and the only way that you could possibly get through, we've decided the only way that we could possibly get through is now having to riot. And now look, since we rioted, we got more attention out of it, and there's now more attention towards this problem and towards the causing of this problem. Now, I'm not saying that I kind of agree or disagree with what the heck they're saying or whatever, because in fairness, they did get more attention after the riots. People's fucking buildings started getting burned down, and people's houses started catching on fire. People started to take notice and take BLM a lot more seriously, and a lot of people started actually being pro BLM. Would you consider them being extremists in that case? Then?
So the specific acts you're talking about are business owners having their buildings burned. Is there any specific event that you saw these riots happen?
Here, let me
Did
give
they
you
happen in your
a
town?
specific they happened in my town, which is kind of surprising for where I live. Our mall got burned down, which is kind of ridiculous, but our mall got burned down.
So,
Minneapolis was
so
fucking basically terrible. Yeah.
right. So I think I'm processing what you're saying then. So you're not asking me if I'm against BLM as a whole. You're asking me if I'm
No.
against these specific things that were done. Okay, then of course. So,
I think
and
I'd have
to make it extra
yeah.
clear, I don't think that the entire BLM movement are people that are rioters or anarchists or burning down buildings and so forth. I actually think that that's a small portion of it, and if it wasn't, we'd actually see it on a much bigger scale. And because of that, I'm not against BLM as a whole. I am against the people that take BLM and go to the extremes with it. And again, that's still in line with like what I'm trying to say, right? So I'm all for women's rights, right? I'm not for the extremists that are saying kill all men to get women's rights. So them I'm against, but the entire women's rights movement, I'm with that shit.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like similar with BLM, right?
Yeah.
I'm not with the people that are going to take it to the extreme and be like, yeah, just kill all cops so there's no more shootings. I'm not with that. That's an extremist point of view. I am with the idea that, okay, there seems to be a disparity between, the socioeconomic climate that we're experiencing as people of color and those that are not people of color are experiencing. So I think that's a perfectly fine mindset to have, and I think it's something you can definitely have some public discourse about, even protest about. I'm for protest. If you're going to come out and peacefully protest, that's 100% fine. And I think there's a reason that that's constitutionally protected, and I think it should stay that way.
Okay. All right. So you're only good with peaceful protests, I'm assuming, right? Because here's the question I basically have to ask, is because when do you know the line then? Because the problem is with because at some point you could peaceful protest all you want, and then we could have a society basically like China where they just take tanks and run you the fuck over for basically trying to protest, and you're going to get censored, and you're never going to get your protests are never going to be heard by the general public. So when I hear
So it's a good thing. It's a good thing I don't
basically
want to run this like China. I don't like how China's government's run, actually.
Yeah, well, but it allows for something that could where you could have a China where basically here, if we don't like what you're saying, fuck you, we're going to kill you. We're either going to kill you or your voice is never going to be heard. It's like, so when it comes to basically saying that any group or any collective as a whole, because I don't disagree with you. I think you personally probably wouldn't run the world like fucking China. Okay, I think that most human beings probably won't run the world like China is running the world right, like running their own government right now. But there is a problem that China's government is in existence right now, and it is kind of being ran that way, where it could be run on a worldwide scale, where we can't where now we have this oppressive authoritarian figure that is basically telling you, hey, this is what you can say and this is what you can't say, and now you have these limitations on them. And even if you're peaceful protesting or whatever, if we don't like what you say, fuck you, you're going to jail for the rest of your life.
Right. So yeah, that's kind of getting into how you would punish people. You can definitely ask me how I would. I will tell you now, I'm really against the death penalty in almost every single case. Not every case, but almost every case, right? And I can't imagine somebody's speech being so harmful outside of having the anti-life equation that I could see it warranting the death penalty.
Look at some Omega rays. Oh shit.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Well, listen. I don't think. Okay. Well, I will strongly disagree with you on that point, because words and writings throughout time have been demonstratively shown to have power. In anyone who there is a famous quote that is the pen mightier than the sword. I don't have to elaborate that to you or anyone in the VC. Everyone has heard that quote before, but it stands true. A lot of stuff that gets written or spoken and has been outright spoken upon or spoken into the public or whatever, and it keeps getting spoken out, will automatically start to gain traction. Okay. Someone's fucking me up by saying they've never heard a pen mightier than a sword. Someone's ratting really hard. But basically, when I'm saying this, right, there's a lot of people who will come together and it will carry traction. Okay, if you start speaking about stuff and start speaking like basically and protesting and taking it seriously, there will be a lot of people that will take you seriously and either A, follow you, or B, listen and hear you out and decide for themselves whether they want to like listen to you or like be like, okay, I kind of agree, or okay, I kind of disagree. Now, I agree with you. Probably there's like, again, there's probably like not a lot of things that come out besides the anti-life equation that could be bad, but you could have a whole governmental fucking no so fucking the basically, god damn it, James, I hate you so much for typing in chat. I'm gonna have to click off the chat. All right, basically when you're going through you're basically saying that, okay, words and speeches and basically writings and stuff like that and people saying things don't have power. That is completely false. When you look at like the great leaders and the great speakers of our not even like, I won't even go back to like the basic like old history. Let's go to like basically modern history. I'm talking about your like your Gandhis, your fucking MLKs, people who have been known to have been basically by like just hamstringing and basically just forcing their ideas down people's brains and basically saying, hey, what we're being oppressed by is incorrect, and what is this, that, and a third is being incorrect. People have automatically have changed their whole ideological views based on what they're saying. So by you saying, oh, words or basically writings will not have any type of effect on like, or not have like a tremendous effect on the world, I think that's completely false. And then thirdly, I would say that like you can under this like words, basically speeches and writings, being able to like converse like a majority of people. It can lead to an open. Yeah, you could go ahead. My fault.
Oh, you're good. So Tygga, so I feel like maybe I miscommunicated. I don't think. How do I put this? So I'm not saying that words can't have a significant impact on the world. What I said was that you can't, or I can't think of very many instances or ways to use speech that would seem to warrant the death penalty for me, right? And maybe I haven't lined up exactly what would be exempt from the death penalty, right? So let's go with your line of reasoning here. So a significant impact on the world doesn't necessarily warrant the death penalty as far as I'm concerned. For example, I'm a believer in like climate change, and I actually do believe that, you know, people can have a significant impact. I think companies have a ridiculous impact, right? And one part of the death penalty is that even in these cases, I wouldn't kill entire companies. I wouldn't shut down companies because of their tremendous impact on the entire world, likely permanently, from what I understand of climate change. Same with people. If you drive a Hummer your entire life, I'm not going to kill you either when you're born, because I know that, or after the fact, even though you, as far as I'm concerned, have a tremendous impact on the world by affecting climate change and progressing it in a way that's going to make the planet uninhabitable for the rest of the world. Even in that case, I don't think it warrants the death penalty. So I'm not trying to say that words can't have a significant impact. I'm just saying that I'm hard pressed to think of an example where I'd give someone the death penalty for it. When even in cases where I think you could, you know, potentially be contributing to the end of the world or the end of the human race, I still wouldn't give you the death penalty.
Okay, yeah, that's perfectly fine in your person. Like, here's the problem with this. Okay, no, look, you are a rational human being. Okay, like what I mean by you're a rational Western civilized cultured human being. Okay, where basically we're kind of all like, at least on the Western like culture or whatever, like basically, and then like the West, like Europe, West Europe, basically, and like America and Canada, basically all these countries in alignment. We basically kind of all think the same, where we're kind of like, there's not a lot of that you could probably say that I would warrant and just kill you for, just outright, just give you a gun and blow your brains out. All right, I'm probably not, I don't think I'll ever agree to that. I don't think you will ever agree to that. But there's a lot but like I've said before, when people get into power and let's say like have like a high authoritarian like power over people, Power corrupts. We've seen power corrupt through history like numerous times. Just because it's not going to corrupt you, like I don't think it will, or me, or like anyone else really in the DC, right, and not be like a jackass with it, doesn't mean it's not going to corrupt all. Okay, so when we get people like I'm going to keep using like people like China's government. Okay, China's government, North Korea, basically people like places where they censor people and basically just kill people for just saying that they don't like the certain political figure that's in charge at the time. And so there's a lot of people who this leads to me to believe that if there's already places in the world that are being suppressed for what they're trying to say and basically protesting and not being allowed a peaceful protest already, what is stopping basically a figurative world government from basically not one day basically having these same beliefs and basically having these like kind of authoritarian beliefs where basically fuck you, you're not going to say anything. You're not going to say anything that is disrespectful to any political leader or any political party. You're not going to say anything that disagrees with what our government laws are. You're not going to say anything with that. We consider that as being harmful, which you have said earlier is like one of your things for why freedom of speech should be limited if what you consider harmful, since it's based on the government that it's in control at the time or whatever, right? Well, since they consider it harmful, they're going to basically remove you from basically the equation. They're just not going to care anymore. And now, like I said, you can respond to that or whatever, but I just think that that's like my main issue with it. My main issue is that yes, there are people who are not like assholes, right? But there are people who are assholes in the world, and that's basically where I'm getting at for when it comes to government oppression, like basically controlling what can be said and what can't be said.
Okay, so I'll answer your two main things. Your first one of what's stopping my system from, I guess, turning into China. Well, as I laid out in my stance, it's me. I don't like how China's run, and I don't like anything similar to that, right? I actually think that China practices forms of extremism. For example, in the case you're bringing up where they'll censor people and kill people for saying the wrong things. So in China, I think it's very extreme to execute your citizens, the people that, make your country, run, over them dissenting over government decisions. I think that's extremist behavior. So again, as I've laid out, I'm against that, and therefore, if I have it my way in my stance, I will not engage in that. That's just not how I want to do it. Other people, however they have it their way, they're not arguing this. They're not in my stance. And the second thing, I think you were saying was what was that second thing? You said you made like a whole separate point, I think. Oh, yes. So that other thing you said, there's a lot of assholes in the world, and that's, demonstrable, right? Well, the reason we have rules in the first place is to deal with that kind of thing. The reason we have laws against murder is because there's murderers in the world. The reason we have laws against rape is because there's rapists in the world. Generally, we have laws against, people that we acknowledge exist. Murderers, rapists, or, in other words, assholes, right? Mm-hmm. So that is essentially what I'm laying out to you, is there's people who use speech to be assholes, to cause harm. In some cases, like the most extreme case being Hitler, you could look at that and say, yes, this man propagandized an entire country to go to war and to genocide, a religious group for who fucking knows what this crazy dude wanted. But the point is that you have these people already. That's fine, right? All I'm saying is that regardless of my system, anyone else's system, assholes exist. All I'm doing is trying to address assholes, right? And not be one myself, and not be an extremist myself. So my system's made to deal with those people that we all acknowledge exists, and that's pretty much the point of it.
All right, so I'll address those two, respond to those. So your first point, or whatever, that basically you're saying it's that it would be personally you. I guess I would just have to ask you a question, no luck, and then I'll continue on to my point. Are you immortal? Are you immortal?
Probably.
Probably? Yeah, okay. Well, probably, with like a 60-40% chance, man. I'll give you that. All right, so we'll do... Like, but for the 40% chance that you're not immortal, right? Basically, there is no way in hell, okay, outside of you basically being a part of this world government, right? Basically, when I've said like a singular person or basically a collective, right? First things first, I didn't really necessarily mean like, okay, just you in general. When I said like this, I just meant like any singular person or any like collective person. But if we could go into this I'll just basically say that, okay, whatever, that's my mistake for that. But then I'll basically say that, okay, just because it's you, right, for your singular government, and you're not going to be alive forever, okay? The average lifespan's like what, 80, 90 if we're lucky, maybe 100 if we're really, really lucky. So when we go into that, right, and basically you're not going to be in power forever, okay? So I'm not talking about like necessarily you. That's why I'm saying. That's why I've said before.
I don't mean to interrupt you on this. I have to go in like 1 second. I'm putting the thing off. Are you? Can we like wrap this? Like you can finish your point. We can go to conclusions. However you want to wrap this, man.
We could go to. I'll try to quickly summarize the next 2 points real quick, and then we can go to conclusions or whatever. But I'd be really interested in redebating you on this. When you have more time?
Okay. Yeah, we can redebate sometime.
Okay. Yeah. I'm cool. Okay. So I'm gonna quickly try to overgeneralize this first 2 points. So so no luck. Basically, you are like, when I say that you as a government official, I don't think that you during the time that you were the leader, though, like basically would have these corruptive like systems. Okay, but you're not going to be in power forever, right? So if you're not going to be in power forever, then I don't see how future generations down the line will not end up corrupt, because you're not going to be here to try to set them straight, okay? And then number 2, your second, I completely forgot the second point that you brought up. You basically said that we're trying to control the assholes to basically change people who are assholes. That's fine, okay? But that's subjective to you. So when who you think are assholes and who you think are not assholes could be very similar to who I think are assholes and who are not assholes, but it's going to be completely different from, like, let's say a couple of other people in the world, right? Now, I'm not saying rapists should not go all probably get castrated. I mean, I think that they all should be castrated, but I think that I think that when we were talking, like, in a general sense, there's no way that you could tell me that a single individual or a whole collective as a whole is going to speak for everybody correctly or have all the same moral outline as everyone correctly. And whatever they decide as assholes and not assholes is completely up to is going to be completely up to them, and it could be completely wrong in the whole moral scheme of things. But with that, let's go to conclusions or whatever. You can start first.
Okay. Let me make a refutation real quick, and then we can.
Yeah.
Give me 1 sec. So my refutation, as I said in my stance, I'm kind of the cornerstone of this whole thing. I don't want other people using the rules that I would set forth for the same reasons that I laid out why China shouldn't be using them, and why I don't like how their governments run. You give the wrong people this kind of power to do what I'm talking about, and they'll do what China's doing. They'll kill people for dissenting from the government. So this whole stance that I've laid out is entirely dependent on whether or not I'm running it. If I'm not running it, it's not my stance, and I would not advise anyone else to use it or to empower anyone else to use it, because you can't trust them to not be assholes. I trust myself. Now, aside from that, and just as a second refutation that's kind of ratty, we both agreed that I am probably immortal. So I probably will be around. I just brought that up. But okay. Okay. So okay. So I'll just leave it at that for that rattiness, I guess. And then conclusions. Do you want me to conclude first, or do you want?
Yeah, you could go ahead and conclude first. I think that's fine. We can wrap it up here.
So, in this debate, I feel like I won for a few reasons. Number one, I was able to create a very coherent stance. I was able to basically leave it untarnished, even when my opponent questioned whether it was good or not to give somebody this kind of power. When I even egged him on to critique, I guess, my reasoning, my rules, even my punishments, I feel like my opponent did end up agreeing with a lot of what I had to say. I think he said as much. So I feel like my stance was not destroyed in any way. I feel like it's been very consistent through this whole thing. I also feel as though my opponent didn't offer, I guess, a better alternative, if you will, a more suitable or more beneficial system to my own, or a more beneficial stance or mindset to my own, other than maybe let people talk more. I had trouble getting a read on his stance. Not to say that my opponent was inarticulate by any means. I think Tygga is very well spoken. But yeah, I don't feel as though a very solid counter or alternative to my own system was presented, and therefore I feel like, since my stance does hold more true, and I feel like I've demonstrated it to be more beneficial, I think I've won the debate.
Are you concluded? I don't want to step on your toes or anything.
No, we're good.
Okay, so I will. So I guess in conclusion, I think I won this debate pretty handily. Basically, I have just demonstrated a bunch of critiques, and yes, I did agree with No Luck on a couple of things. I agreed on him not being an asshole. I agreed on him, probably being immortal, probably, and I guess I agreed on a couple of other things, right? But I think that there's a bunch of main underlying issues that should be spoken about. I have disagreed with the complete justification for why he's his in his own worldview, right? Where basically a government of power where he would be involved would basically be able to succeed or exist. So I basically disagreed with No Luck saying that he basically would be able to determine what is assholes and what are not assholes, okay? Because even though that I agree that him and my point of view are completely similar in a sense of what we think are assholes, well, it could be completely different than someone in India right now thinking what an asshole and what is not an asshole. There could be complete differences from this culture, just from where we are regionally and where we are culturally, which will allow presidents for what are assholes and what are not assholes, okay? So with this being said, I don't think that he would be able to completely determines what he considers would be harmful or disharmful behavior. So, and I've also completed by making an argument that basically saying in general that there is never going to be a singular person or even a collective that universally throughout the earth will ever make a good argument for why morally something should be good or bad, or what should be morally good or bad to say, without determining it being asshole and being limited to speech. And I have given a bunch of scenarios where basically a world government where basically would control over what should be speech and what should not be speech. It just kind of leads to a slippery slope of people basically using and abusing this power to basically only allow what they think should be right or what should be wrong to be put out, and basically what they think it should be allowed to be in the media circuits or not. And I've given actually a bunch of examples that happen today where people today are being oppressed and stuff like that. And Noah counter this by saying, well, he's not it. Well, it doesn't matter what he's not in this scenario. I'm just saying in general, as people as a whole. Yes, his worldview implies him being the ruler, but I'm just meaning in general, okay, where the worldview would be. But with that being said, I kind of want to make this short so he can hurry up and leave. So I'll just conclude there. Good debate, though.
James Daly with the unofficial judgment. Shall you even say one? Oh, piss people off.
Oh, yeah.
No. I think you'll both do both. But I will say, Tygga, your defeater was broken by your own meme. I hope you know that.
Yeah, you say that shit, and I'm going to fucking slap you. I'm so pissed. I said that as a joke. And niggas are like, yep, so he could see. Yep, so he could see. He could see. He said 60-40.
In all fairness, I would give it to No Luck only because I don't consider this interpretive skepticism on how culture will perceive right and wrongness and who's being a dick as not really much of a defeater. It's just very it's not like I would consider it an argument a defeater. Why I don't hold skepticism to that extent. And in that same vein, I don't think that everything that you proposed it's just like speculative at best on whether or not this would be the case. When even in your own eyes, you don't think his stance is necessarily he's a dick or anything. So in your eyes, you probably wouldn't have a problem with his like moral views as a leader. Therefore, I don't think this speculatory value will be enough for me to give you a win, especially since you didn't provide a proper alternative. I don't see like how you could have like won. At best, I'd say a stalemate.
Well, I think I could like the problem with this debate. I think what I fucked up at is where I think I gave Niluk a little bit too credit in not saying himself. When he said himself, I kind of fucked myself. And as soon as he said himself, I realized I kind of fucked myself. That was where I realized that, but I just try to argue against it and try to like kind of push over the narrative that
I also
he
think
say
you
himself and
shouldn't
basically said that there would never be a single person. But yeah, go ahead.
You shouldn't have given him the whole thing that you don't think he's like a dick of a person and all that, because then you're pretty much saying that like that could be interpreted as the ways you wouldn't have a problem with necessarily his views, and therefore all your problems would be just bound on the potential that someone else could, less on the actuality of someone having it, which is where the problem lies. If you would say you disagree with his standards, then at least you have an example of someone who would disagree instead of like a speculation on someone could disagree, which is it's much more powerful in that instance.
I think I said I've said in my conclusion that I think that there would be a disagreement between what me and Niluk thinks are assholes, because I said personally me and him have the same kind of viewpoint of like what we think are assholes because we're just from Western culture, we're from a Western society. But I said like, okay, so we're an Eastern society is going to completely different for us what we think are an asshole completely.
Also,
I said like,
did you all state whether or not Nolak would be controlling freedom of speech across the world, or like the country, or like?
Yeah, I meant across the world. That's why I just meant freedom. Yeah.
No, because Nolak is seemingly talking about it from like a country standard, because he wrote the constitutional rights and things like that.
Yeah.
Like constitutionally.
Did you just assume my geography, James? Hold on. Hold the fuck up.
Also,
wait, what did you just hear?
The Constitution of Australia?
This man just assumed my country.
Did you say like the Constitution of Australia? No. You said this is constitutionally protected. I'll have you know Australia doesn't care about our rights. So like
James, I brought up components to multiple world governments. Like we talked about China, America. I think I said Japan somewhere in there, but I'm watching something. So.
Yeah. Thanks for like providing defeat as a negative against you. Like what the fuck?
Yep. Yes, sir.
Only Nolak would try and debunk why he won. Only Nolak.
Ridiculous.
You're fucking stupid.
I think that.
I never want to hear Nolak ever attack my conclusion on why I think he won ever again. Because he will genuinely try and debate me on anything. I swear to God. He debated me on whether or not Nagaso had eyes.
Just tell me. Yeah, just fuck it, James. Just change the judgment to I won. There we go. W.
I'm going to change it to
Give me the stalemate.
You get your stalemate. I don't think Nolak can prove it.
Yeah, hell yeah. W. Give me my stalemate, bitch. No. Look, I'd definitely be willing. Dude, yeah, no. Look, I definitely want to debate you on that again because that was definitely interesting for sure. And I think if I had more time, I think I'd be able to work out like all the kinks that James was saying. So yeah, no, definitely for sure. You know.
On another note, Nolak, let me know you get a Rust on console. That's what we play now.
Oh, I downloaded it already.
Did I just tell us Ace we got it?
Hell yeah.
No, like Ace says he wants you to debate him or he wants to run your fade, you know.
No.
Damn.
Nolak's about to leave.
No, not right now, obviously.
Why? I just said I had to go 5 minutes ago.
Not right now. Eventually.
No, right? I'll still got to make a video of Nolak before you all go debating.
See you later, Nolak.
Peace out, Nolak.
See you, Tygga.
Alright, see you, Nolak.
Yeah.